Hello. Today we're going to talk about the many health benefits of castor oil. That's right, the castor oil. Woo! It's not that tasty, but it's very potent and has many therapeutic benefits. In Ayurveda, it's used to put on the eyes for dry eyes and many eye conditions. Just one drop directly right on the eyeball, and then open and close the eyes, and then after a short period of time you can just rinse it off, or even sleep with it overnight and then rinse it off in the morning. Very effective. Also very helpful for skin conditions, boils, dry skin, skin marks. For those who get a lot of boils and sores, particularly if they're dry in the summer heat, kind of like a heat rash, well, you can put a castor oil on that and then cover it with a band-aid or some gauze, leave it overnight. You'll see in the morning that they've kind of stopped becoming inflamed and they are starting to heal. And of course, to finish the healing process, you could use wheat germ oil, high in vitamin E, and if it was still dry, or aloe vera. And I'll probably do talks on both of those two products as well. But to get rid of skin marks, or liver marks are often called, because it's due to the toxic level in the blood that's creating this marking on the face. And obviously when you see somebody with a lot of marks on their arms and their face, then we know that they have toxins in their blood, and this could be traced back to the liver, because it's the liver's responsibility to filter out the blood. So we could say the liver's not working, so it's really, that's what we call it, a liver mark, because it's coming from the liver's deficiency or inability to do its job. So you're not really getting at the cause of the mark by doing this, but it is very detoxifying. Castor oil is detoxifying, and if you put some castor oil on a band-aid and put it on a liver mark or even a mole, then for about 30 days, you need to do it about 30 days. After 2 or 3 days, I start to see some lighter color. I've never done it with a mold, but I've heard other people do it with a mold, and maybe it takes up to 60 days for a mold. It means every day it will shrink it. So very good for this type of condition. Also, types of severe dry skin, you can make a castor oil poultice and put it over the dry area for the night. And amazing results. Eczema, for example, can respond very well to castor oil. And since it has a detoxifying effect, it's really drawing out toxins out through the skin. That's its action, so to speak. So it works very good for a gentle detoxification of the liver. If you have some flannel or some good cotton, you can then pour the castor oil all over it, spread it around. It's really sticky, stinky stuff, and then place it, under your right rib, over where your liver is, of course, directly on the skin. And then you could tape it down with some gauze or some, first aid tape. And then you could cover it with a little plastic if you want to protect your clothing. And then put a tight shirt on to hold it there, and then sleep with it overnight, and this will detox your liver. So if you're going through any type of cleanse, a juice fast or water fast, or you're cleansing out your colons, and you want to support your liver through the whole process, it's very effective. Of course, taking herbal teas and dandelion root and milk thistle and burdock root would also help, but for sure this is a very gentle and a very effective way to detoxify the liver with a castor oil pack. So it can be used in that regard too, to detox. And it can really be used on any part of the body, and it's mostly for dry skin conditions. But the main way that castor oil is used therapeutically is as a laxative, and I should say a purgative, because it's really a purgative. And there's many ways to use it. Just for somebody who has extreme constipation, hasn't had bowel movements for a couple days, many laxatives aren't going to work. Obviously, adding just fiber and psyllium is going to be counterindicative, particularly psyllium if you have somebody with dry stools, and psyllium is dry and it's going to absorb water in the GI tract and only make you more constipated. But castor oil, being a lubricant and an oil, is perfect for dry, stuck constipation. So a couple tablespoons of castor oil at night with some hot, make it in a hot ginger tea, like, just 3-4 ounces of ginger tea, and then put in the oil and whip it with a fork so it kind of emulsifies there, and then toss it down. It has a terrible taste, unfortunately, and it does linger in your mouth for some time, this terrible taste. So you really want to have something to chase it down with. It tastes pretty good, a little fruit juice or something. But if you take it in small enough amounts, like a teaspoon, you can kind of just pour it down the back of your throat and chase it down with something and not taste it. So that works. But for really breaking up serious constipation, 2-3 tablespoons. And you can increase each night until you get the results you need. But I have seen people that have had to take as much as 1 ounce of castor oil to relieve chronic constipation. And that's because the first smaller amount was just absorbed by the colon, the oil, but it still helped to lubricate it and prepare. So maybe the first night you do 2 tablespoons, next night you try 3, next night you try 4. So the first 2 still helped, it just didn't get the action you wanted. And it is a purgative, so when you do go in the morning, it's a little violent and it's very cleansing, and it really can mess up the toilet, but it clears you right up. Now, if you just take it in a smaller amount, say you just want to do a little cleanse and get started, maybe next week, tomorrow you want to do a little juice fast, and you want to get the bowels going, kick it off to a good start, take a tablespoon of castor oil that night. And don't sleep far from the toilet, and that should be just enough for somebody who's not really constipated but just wants a quick purge just to get started on their cleanse or their detoxification program. And then, of course, I've known people that take 1 teaspoon every night for 5-6 nights or a week during a cleanse, and that's just enough for them to keep the bowels really moving. And of course, it's most suitable for those who are dry, and that would be the vata body type. Castor oil is most suitable for, least suitable for the kapha. Kapha can use other types of laxatives more effectively. So, and in India, they've often given it to children once a month or once a week. I've met Indians who remember their mother giving them a teaspoon of castor oil once a month. And for a child who's not constipated and having regular bowel movements, that's like a detox on its own. It just purges the intestinal tract, and they just have multiple bowel movements throughout the day, and the next day they're fine. So it's like a mini cleanse on its own if you get the quantity just right. But what you really have to learn with it, I've learned from experience, is getting the quantity right. It's so powerful that 1 tablespoon could have somebody running to the toilet. Well, somebody else may need 4 tablespoons. And for children, it could be half a teaspoon. So you have to get the quantities right. And for yourself, you can experiment with yourself and get used to it. But for other people, even for myself, you have to guess, based on their digestive system and their history and how long they've been constipated, whether it's dry and hard. So an excellent item to have in your house. I bought this at Banyan Botanicals, organic. And you can also get it in the health food store. A lot of times it says on it, not for internal use, but don't let that bother you. That's their recommendation. I mean, you wouldn't want to take too much of it. If you drink out of the bottle, obviously you're going to be have quite a strong reaction. So it is very potent, but very good to have around the house, and very good for skin detoxification and its laxative effects. And don't forget to put a drop in your eyes once or twice a month. And this will known to improve vision. So I hope that gave you some helpful ways to use castor oil. Thank you very much.